What's up, guys? Today I'm here to bring to you a team that has given me incredible success. I went on a 16-game streak without losing. It just got me to rank 10. I gained, I think, 250 points in 6 sets, just all with this team. But before we get into it and how to play it and the strategy behind it, just like to give a shout out to my Patreon supporters once again really quick. Still have not had any issues. It's been an absolute blast theory crafting, talking, and coaching you guys. And without you, this wouldn't be possible. So let's start. Let's take a look at this video here. This team in question is Shadow Victreebel, Crustle, and Shadow Mawile. I think we're starting with the second set I ever played with this team, so there's a little bit of rust and a little bit of matchup knowledge that's not there. I really did think a Shadow Victreebel team could work just because it does beat so many of the common leads nowadays. Like if you look at PvPoke, it doesn't really look like it has that many good matchups against the meta, but if you look at what you find in the lead commonly, you've got Pokemon like Gengar, Haunter, Qwilfish now, Tentacruel, Crustle, Golurk, all those Pokemon, Azu, they all lose to Shadow Victreebel. So it actually is kind of a good meta for Shadow Victreebel lead. I tried to replicate a little bit of the team building that went into the thought process behind the Shadow Victreebel Bastion lineup. A lot of people are trying to run Shadow Victreebel with a rock in the back, but it's not the rock type of Bastion that's important, it is the steel type. So here we have Shadow Mawile playing the closer and Crustle the safe swap. And Crustle was also the safe swap for the team in my last video, so I was a bit more comfortable with that there. But the goal is Crustle swaps in and baits out the Shadow Mawile counter, and either Shadow Victreebel or Shadow Mawile can sweep the game, depending on who is remaining, if they have 2 Shadow Victreebel counters or if they have 2 Shadow Mawile counters. And the difficult part is determining which one is which. I will also say that this team has a lot of issues with Alolan Marowak, mainly in the lead, or Alolan Marowak paired with Azu in the back or something like that, where Alolan Marowak doesn't get drawn out at all by the Victreebel coming back in or the Crustle coming back in. I will be honest, I haven't seen a lot of Alolan Marowak recently, so that's part of the reason this team performed so well. But I guess we can take a look, and even if Alolan Marowak does come back, that just might be a couple more losses. This team is still very viable, I would say. So let's take a look at this game here. This is Shadow Victreebel into Qwilfish, and obviously, you absolutely dumpster Qwilfish. I didn't shield because I knew there was such a dominating matchup with Shadow Victreebel, and Alolan Marowak comes out. So this Alolan Marowak in the back, like I just talked about, is a very hard thing because it is the one main thing that Crustle doesn't bait out when it comes in terms of a Shadow Mawile counter. So you can see I'm going to try and take down this Alolan Marowak here, but I'm going to have to blow both shields on Bone Clubs, and I just won't be able to take down this Galvantula and Alolan Marowak. It's just not going to happen. So I leave there, but luckily for me, and I guess for you guys, this was the last loss that I had in the entire set. Or not just the entire set, but I'm not going to lose for another 16 games here. So, spoiler alert, but here we can see some gameplay. Skuntank gets swapped in. I don't like to shield Skuntank on Crustle. I want to save my shields mainly for Shadow Victreebel and Shadow Mawile, whichever one I think is going to be the carry. In this case, I do shield because I think that switch advantage is more important on this in this specific matchup, and I know that one shield can guarantee me the switch advantage. So Golurk comes back in, and obviously I have to remove this with my Shadow Victreebel. And now once Shadow Victreebel and Mawile are both up, I think there's really only one Pokemon with a shield that can beat both of them, and that is Alolan Marowak. So as long as there's no Alolan Marowak in the back here, this game is relatively straightforward. Alright, so I'll try and focus on what to do with specific leads when we see them here. So we're going to see a Galvantula, Shadow Victreebel. In regular Great League, I like to stay in versus Galvantula. It's a pretty okay matchup, but because both of the Pokemon in the back are so good versus Galvantula, I don't mind swapping in and either trying to win back switch or taking shield advantage. So versus the Sableye, I just throw X's are super effective, or does a decent amount of damage, and they elect not to shield it, so I'm going to come back in with Shadow Victreebel. The fact that they swapped in Sableye into Crustle means that Sableye is their best Crustle counter, and it's probably their best Shadow Mawile counter. If they, unless they have an Alolan Marowak in the back, which I was a bit scared about, it would be Azu Double Ghost all over again, which was Throw Technical's team from Open Great League. But in this case, it looks like they just have an Azu, so I swap into the Mawile. You see Play Rough actually does a ton of damage. I run it over Iron Head because it actually hits things really hard. Iron Head would really only help with Crustle. But in this case, I identify Shadow Victreebel as my MVP and save shields for Victreebel. You'll notice I'm using Sludge Bomb as another attack besides Leaf Blade. This is not important. I've never used it once in Halloween Cup. In Open Great League, I still stand by it. In Halloween Cup, I think you'd run Acid Spray over it, but I just didn't think the TM was really worth it. I was only going to be really using Leaf Blade anyways. So that was the first set there, just a 3-2. But the last two games was when it really started picking up and I really started hitting my stride with this team. You're going to see probably the majority of these leads are good. A lot of Qwilfish and Golurk around right now. But you'll see how I do play and manage to win against a lot of these poor lead teams. Swalot here, I've tried swapping a Crustle in the past, but you need way too many shields to be able to deal with Swalot. I think you get to use one less shield with Mawile. I get pretty low after 2 Sludge Bombs. I know I'm going to have to either throw a move here or spend a shield, and I would much rather save my shields for Shadow Victreebel and Crustle. So we're going to see the Qwilfish come back. Obviously, you can't do very much, and there is a Crustle. So once again, Shadow Victreebel does pretty well against these two Pokemon, but Crustle does much better against opposing Crustle instead. I decided not to shield. I call the X's or bait. And now it's just Qwilfish versus Shadow Victreebel. With 2 shields, this game only ends one way, and it's a pretty easy win. So yeah, I've had problems with Swalot swaps from my opponents in the past, because Swalot is actually really tanky and throws out charge moves really fast. Beedrill lead, this is awful for Shadow Victreebel, but it's not awful for this team. The backline is so good against it. So I swap in the Crustle, and immediately Azu comes out. With Azu in the back, it's kind of tough to tell what else could be there. But it's there's a decent chance that either Shadow Mawile or Victreebel is good against it, so we have to dance around whatever it is. Hopefully it is a Wigglytuff or something like that. But I elect to just let my Shadow Victreebel tank an Ice Beam, who says they can't, because I'm hoping that it is something that Shadow Mawile can mow right through. You can see this Beedrill stays in. That's good news for me. It's a Crustle. So Shadow Mawile versus Crustle is pretty good with shields up. You just need to get the power-up punches rolling, because Crustle doesn't get to charge moves very fast. But you also can't really tank a Rock Slide comfortably. So we CMP tie there. I'm going to shield. This Beedrill has no energy, so I know that as long as I can finish off this Crustle, they only get to an X-Scissor, I should be able to easily take down this Beedrill. X-Scissor is double resisted by Shadow Mawile, so they really do have to go for the Rock Slide, but I don't think they could have made it with their energy situation. So as we climb here, starting to run into more rank 10s, some gatekeepers. Here's a Qwilfish lead, and they're immediately going to swap into Whimsicott. So most of the time Shadow Victreebel beats Fairies, but Whimsicott is one of the examples where that doesn't happen. But luckily Mawile absolutely stomps this matchup. It's not even close. Whimsicott can't get to a charge move, and Qwilfish is going to come back in and pretty obviously no shield this, but you can see how much damage that does. Qwilfish is not very tanky. I'm going to come back in with Shadow Victreebel, and I wasn't counting, so I'm not sure if it could have been a Sludge Wave, but I decided to play it safe, and it's a Wigglytuff in the back. So a double Charmer team is kind of what I thought it might be, and like I said, this is one of the Pokemon that Shadow Victreebel does not lose to. So even so, I never even had to show Crustle there. That game was pretty easy. This team handles Charmers very well, I would say. a lot of resist, and even Crustle's not too bad against Charmers. We're going to see another Qwilfish lead into double rock, I'm assuming, and I swap to try and catch a move, and because I know it's double rock, Shadow Mawile does pretty good against everything here, except for the Qwilfish. So, actually, no, I remember this game. I misclicked the Mawile. I didn't mean to go into Mawile. I clicked the switch button, and then I tried to cancel switch, and then I clicked Mawile. But you're just going to see here how much damage Mawile can do to Tyranitar. And he takes 2 shields with Power Up Punch. So, Qwilfish now doesn't have shields in the back. Tyranitar doesn't have shields. I'm able to come in with Crustle and just farm down here, even though it's Tyranitar, and Tyranitar's decent against Crustle. It's so much squishier that these resisted hits deal a ton of damage, and I'm able to just come in with the Leaf Blade and finish this off. So 1 shield, 2 Pokemon left. This team is very, very good against Qwilfish Double Rock, against Tentacool Double Rock, against the Double Rock teams in general. There isn't really a weak Pokemon, and both those teams really struggle with Shadow Victreebel and Shadow Mawile in general. Alright, so Mawile lead, definitely not ideal. And then Toxicroak switch. This is really, really bad. You'd think that you can't really deal with both of these Pokemon. I have to tank the Mud Bomb here and then get off this Rock Slide. I don't shield, so that I'm hoping that they won't want to shield either, and my wish is granted. Toxicroak is forced to use his energy and takes a ton of damage. I'm going to come back in with Shadow Victreebel, and my only hope is that whatever they have in the back is super weak to Mawile. I'm going to try and deal as much damage to Mawile as I can with Victreebel. I'm not going to shield anything, and I'm going to swap right in and force their swap out. So Haunter comes back in. This is a Pokemon that Mawile is not very good against, but is not bad against either. And I'm going to go for the Power Up Punch because I know I won't be able to break through their shields anyways, and I'm able to take down that Haunter. So I need to deal as much damage as I possibly can to the Shadow Mawile so that my Victreebel can come back in and clean up. And that's how you deal with Mawile. You kind of have to chip it down with everybody. It's very good against Shadow Victreebel, obviously, pretty good against Crustle, and then obviously the Mawile mirror is even. But there we go, that's a 5-0. That's 7 wins in a row so far, if you guys are counting. You saw a couple bad leads there too. There was a Mawile lead, there was a Beedrill lead. Those are 2 Pokemon that Shadow Victreebel absolutely cannot deal with on its own, and you can absolutely not stay in versus and try and win switch advantage or something like that. So there's some examples there. It's not just all Qwilfish, even though Qwilfish might be getting a little bit more popular again now. So Toxicroak lead, I would consider this either a loss lead or a pretty even lead. You'd rather see it up front than in the back. So what you need to do here is spend 2 shields to win switch advantage. I throw a Leaf Blade to get a shield back. Although this team doesn't really care for shields down anyways, but I do have to spend 2 shields here to keep my Victreebel healthy enough to deal with an Azumarill later. So they're going to come in with a Alolan Muk, and I'm going to swap right away, and that's why you swap right away, to draw out the Azumarill. If I don't do that, there's an Azumarill at the back to deal with Shadow Mawile. But now this Azumarill has to come out front and center, and I'm just going to try and get as much damage off as I can. I really can't let it farm me all the way down because then I'm in trouble. I have to shield on Shadow Victreebel, and I want to save that shield for Shadow Mawile for this Alolan Muk in the back because... Or wait, I don't have a shield, so this is going to be close regardless. I'm going to get to this Leaf Blade before I can get snarled down, and I can't let myself get snarled down here, so I'm going to swap right away to Shadow Mawile, and we're going to try and take down this Alolan Muk before it can get to 2 charge moves, as you resist both of its charge moves. Even so, look at that Sludge Wave does an absolute ton of damage. I let a Snarl through for free, but this Power Up Punch is going to KO, even though it is such a weak move. So, another not great lead, but the play managed to draw the counter. And Golurk into Galvantula, so what you do here is you swap into Crustle. You don't have to shield anything. If it's a discharge, it almost KOs you, but that's fine, because then you can't get farmed down very much anyways. You might as well throw the Rock Slide to make sure that you don't have to spend a shield with Shadow Victreebel against Golurk. Yeah, the Galvantula matchup is pretty handily Crustle favored. And then we see a Beedrill there. My switch timer isn't up yet. My only loss condition here is this Beedrill farms me all the way down and gets to multiple drill runs. So I'm just going to swap in and throw power-up punches when I can. I don't think it was really necessary, but rather be safe than sorry. Even if they bait me here twice, I don't think that they can take me down before Mawile gets the kill there. So that was a very straightforward matchup. This team is pretty decent at punishing one leads, but there are some cases where you can still lose. Gengar lead, I think I remember this one. My opponent plays this perfectly. He fast move denies here, so I don't get the fast move through, and then he's going to get another Shadow Punch off. Gengar doesn't normally get to 2 Shadow Punches, so spending 2 shields here was a big deal, and that was well played to my opponent for using the mechanics properly. So another case, look, I swap out even though my Victreebel is solo, and I give up switch advantage because I need to draw this Azumarill out of the back. So Azumarill is out of the back, and I'm just going to let the Crustle go down. Well, I have no choice because I have no shields, but I'm going to bring in the Shadow Victreebel here. I'm going to start trying to use up shields. I attack once, so that's fast move timing, and then I throw it. But I'm not going to be able to deal very much damage to this Azumarill before they get a charge move off. So my last hope is that whatever they have in the back is incredibly weak to Fairy, or just Mawile in general, but I'm going to go for the Power Up Punch to try and stop this. Actually, no, I knew it was a Wormadam in the back. Go for the Power Up Punch to kind of stop this Azumarill from getting to a charge move. I don't want my Mawile to tank a charge move because I thought I might have to tank an Iron Head or something like that. But with the Power Up Punch, you can see how fast that Wormadam faints. It's not even close. You just deal a metric ton of damage with Fire Fang. It's double super effective. We're going to see a Crustle lead, and they're going to swap right into Galvantula. So obviously we've seen this before. The goal is to go to Crustle. They can lunge as well, deals quite a bit of damage, but then you just get an extra attack off of energy. Not sure if it really matters in most cases, but Qwilfish will come in. So this is a Pokemon we hadn't seen before from their side. We have full knowledge of their team, and this is a team that absolutely gets run over by Shadow Victreebel now, and they realize that and just leave. So that's kind of what happens against teams where there's only one Shadow Victreebel counter, and I wouldn't even say Galvantula is really a counter, just more of a check. They still have to, you still can beat Galvantula. They have to spend, or you just have to spend 2 shields to their 1. So this match against Gary Oak, I guess technically he was streaming, and this is when people first saw my team. So Shadow Mawile, the lead. This is not a very good lead, but I'm able to draw the Qwilfish here, and he gets to the Aqua Tail before I can get to the Rock Slide, and I just let Crustle go down. I need my shields for my other Pokemon. So I'm going to be able to Razor Relief down that Qwilfish, and I'm pretty sure Shadow Mawile is going to be coming right in. My switch timer is nowhere near up. Gary Oak knows that, that's why he comes back in. And I'm just trying to deal as much damage to this Mawile as possible. So I am just going to go for some Fire Fangs. I think it's going to be a Power Up Punch, but I wasn't quite sure, and I couldn't take that chance, and they're going to come in with a Skuntank here. Or Shadow Skuntank. And Poison doesn't do very much, but Skuntank's charge moves will absolutely shred, and I really have to hope that he's not at 2 charge moves there, and I'm able to very barely get that win just with a sliver of health. But remember, that was a terrible lead. That was Shadow Mawile lead into Victreebel, and look at that. That's the second 5-0 in a row, putting us at 12 wins in a row now, and I think that was my longest of the season as well. I think with the Tentacruel double rock line, I had managed to get to maybe 10 wins, which was my previous record, and then now it would be 12. But no losses in 12 games, and 29.65 is the rating. So I figured I just needed 4 wins to close out rank 10 here, and this was my last set of the day, so I really wanted to kind of get that done. We're going to see a Crustle lead, which is not great, or it's not great for them, not great for me. So I try and swap and catch, and I make this mistake of letting it go through where I could have guaranteed switch advantage instead. But now I'm going to have to bring in my Shadow Victreebel to take down the Crustle, and now I don't have switch advantage anymore. So Alolan Muk comes out. And the fact that Alolan Muk is their best Shadow Victreebel counter makes me think that there's something very weak to Shadow Victreebel in the back. And they managed, or they just, they let the Leaf Blade through, which is a bit confusing to me, because it does a ton of damage, and as expected, there's Azumarill. I throw my Leaf Blade, and I really just hope that Shadow Mawile can win this with 1 shield advantage. So this is not a good matchup, as anyone might guess. Fire Fang into a water type, but they shield the Power Up Punch, the first one. So that means if I get to another Power Up Punch, it's going to do more damage than the first one would. They're going to fire off a Play Rough here, so they successfully baited me, but I'm going to get to another Power Up Punch, and they don't get their move through. And it's going to come right down to the wire, and it's a simultaneous KO. So that's why I had to phrase it as no losses in 16. There's a tie right here, which unfortunately breaks the win streak, but we're still on that lossless streak. So let's see how the rest of these game goes, and if I can manage to make it to rank 10 still. Crustle's going to come in on the swap. Same thing as last time. I'm going to swap to my own Crustle. This time I decide to shield, and it's an Exeter, so I literally cannot call these baits right today. But Crustle's back in, and he's very oppressive. Even against Pokemon like Qwilfish, letting a Rock Slide through is very deadly. So I actually get a shield there, and they're able to farm down, which makes me a little bit scared of getting Sludge Waved. But they throw right away, so it was probably an Aqua Tail. But either way, I shield. I want to keep my Shadow Victreebel relatively healthy, and it's a good thing I do, because out comes Shadow Tyranitar. And those Razor Leaves really hurt, but I know I've got it in the back. All I have to do is survive this one attack and be able to get to my Power Up Punch. So it is a good thing for him that he threw there, because he wouldn't have made the Stone Edge, I don't think. But Power Up Punch is fast enough to come through and hit that 4 times super effective damage on the Tyranitar. So I actually matched against a rank 8 player here, and I've seen him match against some other rank 9s and 10s. So he must have a very high hidden rating. It's a Crustle lead. In this case, I've stopped trying to switch and catch against Crustle leads. I'm just going for it now. And they eventually swap into Galvantula. So a lot of Crustles into Galvantulas recently. Not really sure who released that kind of team, but once again, I don't have to shield, and I'm able to take down this Galvantula. Whatever comes back in, it's the Crustle, is going to have to either shield this Rock Slide or just go down, and then it's just a Qwilfish. So not shielding that Rock Slide is a guaranteed loss at this point. Qwilfish just gets absolutely dumpstered by Shadow Victreebel. So yeah, I think this was the exact same team. A couple times it was Crustle, Qwilfish, and Galvantula, and they're swapping the Galvantula in. So this guy managed to play it a lot closer, but he lost with 2 shields up. So if he'd maybe shielded the Rock Slide, for example, from Crustle, he might have been able to pull out that win. So that's 14 games now, no losses. Saw a couple bad leads in there. Haunter's a very good lead for Shadow Victreebel, especially because people don't swap out of it usually. They just go down. So it's you end this matchup with enough energy for a Leaf Blade, and you only had to use 1 shield. So you're going to get that shield back against their next Pokemon. I swap out right away. Not because I think it's Crustle is very good against Sableye, but because I'm trying to draw out the Azumarill. So once again, draw out the Azumarill. If you're losing the Azumarill in the back, then you're not playing this team correctly, because the Azumarill should never be in the back. It should always get drawn out by Crustle. And you just let the Crustle go down. Shadow Victreebel's only job now is to get rid of this Azumarill, and Sableye will come back and have a decently rough time versus Shadow Mawile here. I shield the first one just in case it is a... Oh, they're not even purified, so it's not a return. But you can take a charge move or 2 from Sableye, depending on your health. It doesn't really do too much damage because it's resisted. Shadow Mawile resists a ton in this meta, but yeah, get another win there. That was an easy lead win though. So, but most of these are. So we're going to see a Toxicroak in the lead. This is pretty tough. I don't get my extra fast move through there either. So I realize I'm going to have to be sending 2 shields regardless. A-Muk comes in. I'm going to throw a Leaf Blade because I think this is a higher chance of going unshielded, and then I'm going to come in with Crustle. Crustle can tank one of these charge moves. I'm not really sure what they'll throw. Looks like a Dark Pulse, but it doesn't really look like he can tank more than one. And I have to make a tough decision on whether I want Switch Advantage or not. So I let Crustle go down because I want to save a shield for Mawile. I really need Mawile to be able to carry this game for me here. And I'm going to get to another Leaf Blade, which is really, really going to help. The Shiftry overfarmed quite a bit, and actually we CMP tie. So if Shiftry had just thrown right away, they wouldn't be in this situation. But luckily, Shadow Mawile is able to get Shiftry down before they get to another foul play, and then it's just a matter of taking down this Toxicroak. So this game is going to be very close as well, but I am not going to be able to win. So right there was the last game, so 3-1-1 set. I thought it might be enough to get to rank 10 here, but I think I'm going to end up falling just a bit short. Yeah, 9 points, so I had to wait till this morning, I guess. Play my last set. So this is the next set after that, still at 2-9-9-1. This is actually one of my Patreon supporters right here playing against me. I didn't know it was him until after the game. But I see Skuntank lead Shadow Skuntank, so this is really spicy. I'm not really sure what's going on. I swap into my Crustle and tank the charge move, and out comes Mandibuzz. So the fact that Mandibuzz is coming in on my Crustle, I just assumed that his team was very weak to like rock types. So I realize if they're weak to rock types, they're probably not weak to grass types. Shadow Mawile probably has to carry my team here. So I'm going to shield because I thought this Mandibuzz might be at enough energy for a Shadow Ball. But because they threw an Aerial Ace, I know they don't have Shadow Ball. They're probably running foul play. And I throw this Power Up Punch to prevent this Mandibuzz from getting to another charge move. I didn't know if they were quite there yet or not. So Skuntank is going to come back in, and I'm going to get to another Power Up Punch. And they shield, so I know they're getting to a charge move. I have to shield here too, and I really have to hope whatever in the back is weak to Shadow Mawile, and it absolutely is. It's a Beedrill. So Beedrill is going to be able to take down Shadow Mawile, but I have a nearly full health Shadow Victreebel in the back, and even though these are all resisted hits, it doesn't really matter when their Pokemon are at about 1 HP. So this team's still working very, very well this morning. I haven't played the rest of my sets today. I might switch up with a different team for you guys, but we're going to see another Shadow Victreebel lead. I was assuming mirror match as soon as the Crustle came in, but from what I've seen, the more common version, and I'm not sure why, people are just running Shadow Tyranitar in the back instead, so it's like the Tentacruel team except with Shadow Victreebel. But I'm not sure that that's like a very strong or a stronger version of this lineup. I would say the Shadow Mawile completes this team a lot better. Like I said, it's about the Steel type, not the Rock type. But my Shadow Mawile is going to come back in, and right now I was really hoping it's not a mirror, and it's Shadow Tyranitar. And I have 2 shields and he has 1, but both these teams are very base round fast moves. But Power Up Punch, just watch how much damage this does to Tyranitar. This is absolutely insane. Half his HP, and that game is taken as well. So this Shadow Victreebel Crustle Tyranitar team, it's interesting because it also makes people think there's Tyranitar in the back. Earlier when the Mandibuzz was swapped into the Crustle, that's because they thought that there was a Tyranitar in the back. I talked to them afterwards. So it's just the uncertainty with this team makes it pretty strong right now too. I swap into the Shiftry and I catch a move on Crustle, and they swap out right away too. And I think that this team probably also thought that I had a Tyranitar in the back. If they swap out their Shiftry, they can keep their Shiftry safe, and Shiftry beats both Shadow Victreebel and Shadow Tyranitar very handily. But Shadow Victreebel comes out again, and I realize this is another one of those games where I'm probably going to have to rely on Shadow Mawile in the back. So I actually threw my Leaf Blade thinking that it was going to be a Shiftry, but it was a Beedrill swapping in. So at this point, I realized that Shadow Mawile definitely has to be the carry here. Shadow Victreebel just can't do it, and I'm going to try and take down both these Pokemon. Nothing from Shiftry does enough damage to take out Mawile, and we're going to cruise to another victory here. They're not even going to let me have the satisfaction of taking down their last Pokemon. So the next game here, battling it out for rank 10. We're going to see a Beedrill lead. Obviously, not a very good lead, so we're going to swap out right away to Crustle. And met with another Crustle. So I have the energy advantage right now. I'm just going to go for the X-Scissor. I do this to keep a little bit of energy on myself so that they're kind of forced to throw their charge move instead of just farming me down. And they're just going to X-Scissor as well. So I'm going to jump in with Shadow Victreebel because I want to keep my Shadow Mawile healthy. And I know I'm going to get trapped in here against the Beedrill. I'm not going to shield it all, even though I'm right by a Leaf Blade, but I'm going to swap out right away so that maybe I can get to that Leaf Blade against someone else. And it's another Tyranitar in the back. They don't shield that Power Up Punch. That's an unboosted Power Up Punch. That does so much damage. And I have 2 shields. I'm just going to be able to blow a shield here. And carry on with this relatively easy victory. Just another shield, just in case it's a drill run. Honestly, I didn't think it was, but I haven't thought a lot of these were drill runs. Beedrill gets to it very fast. So I found myself shielding a lot. Anyways, yeah, a lot more Beedrills today for sure. But, alright, another battle against a rank 10 Gatekeeper here. We have a Wormadam lead. This is not ideal at all. I'm going to swap out right away to my Crustle. And they're going to come in with Hydreigon. So, I've not seen one of these before in Halloween Cup, but it seems very strong. I also don't know the counts for this Pokemon because I never seen open, and I really wanted to get this X-Scissor off, so I shield, but I don't think he could have been in a Dark Pulse anyways, so I probably should have let the Body Slam through. That was a really bad play on my part, especially because I forgot that Mawile is part Fairy type, so it 3 times resists Dragon. So I could have just come in with that and farmed all the way down instead of wasting a shield. So I'm able to, or I guess what I was trying to do is win back Switch Advantage to try and line Mawile up with Wormadam. But they're going to come in with Golbat here, and this is a very tough game. I'm going to be forced to shield a Poison Fang, and I'm going to come back in with Shadow Victreebel, and this is not going to be a win. So a lot of this is my bad for shielding on Crustle against Zweilous, but I really did not know what Zweilous was at, and that was just my fault for not knowing the matchups. But I'm able to pull the 4-1 here, and this is going to be rank 10. I will talk about the team a little bit. I think it is very strong. I have spent a lot of time trying to think of Shadow Victreebel, teammates and stuff like that, and I think this is probably the best combination I could get to in terms of theory crafting wise. There are some holes with it, of course, as there are with all teams, but even more so just because Shadow Victreebel is not very good in this meta against everything. You can see here I managed to squeak past the rank 10 line, so a bit less stress for the rest of the season. But yeah, like I said, this team will have some more troubles after Alolan Marowak raid day comes and everyone kind of gets their Shadow Bone Alolan Marowaks and wants to try them out in Halloween Cup. In the lead, I would recommend sacking the Shadow Victreebel and then coming in with Crustle to take down the Alolan Marowak, and then just hoping that whatever they have in the back you can beat with Shadow Mawile. But there's just going to be some teams that you just can't beat, but it's like that with every team, right? But yeah, if you guys like that, feel free to throw me subscribe. I'm going to try and get out maybe another Halloween Cup team or two. I'm trying to pump out the teams as fast as I can, as soon as I know they're successful, so that you guys can, maybe if you don't have the Pokemon to run these previous ones, you'll have Pokemon to run the next ones. And it's only a week-long thing, but I've been having a ton of fun with Halloween Cup, and hopefully you guys are too. But yeah, once again, if you guys like this kind of content, feel free to throw me a subscribe, and if you're interested in any sort of the coaching services or anything like that, or you just want to support, you can visit my Patreon, and I'll link my Discord as well in the YouTube video, and hopefully this time I will use a non-expiring link, but that seems to be tough for me to remember, so we'll see. And as always, thanks for watching, guys.